Hello and welcome along. We're going to get straight into it and talk North London derby because it was highly entertaining, as we said. 17 shots on target, which is the most out of any Premier League game this season. We always expect fireworks in this fixture. But what did we learn, Paul Merson?
None of these two teams are winning the Premier League this year.
What? Yeah, OK, yeah. You could probably... Well, why do you argue that point? What do you think they're lacking?
I think Tottenham lacking a squad. I don't think their squad's strong enough. You only had to look at Sanchez had to play right back on Sunday. He's not a left back. I mean, every time the left-sided player got the ball, he sort of run back into the box, and Sissoko had to do a lot of running that way when his strongest point's running that way. It showed that Tottenham are a good team still. They are a good team. And Arsenal showed fight. You know, could have easily caved, and then you're looking at it and you're thinking if they don't score the goal on the stroke of half-time, you're thinking Tottenham really should be sitting there on the coach on the way and thinking should really be picking Arsenal off here and winning 4 and 5s. You know, but fair play to Arsenal, they fought back and thoroughly deserved the draw. It was a real entertaining game for the neutral.
Gary, for Spurs fans, they would have seen the team sheet when it came out and had a lot of faith in the fact that Christian Eriksen started and Jan Vertonghen started as well. Do you think that was the difference for them?
I think it was a big difference. I think Eriksen has been missed in some ways in the opening games of the season. I don't think Spurs have been anywhere near as fluent as they have been previously, previous starts to seasons. I think Eriksen just gives them that little bit of a link, doesn't he? I know Dele Alli can play that role, but I think Eriksen just gives that little bit more creativity in that sort of that number 10 position, that attacking midfield position, and gives them a little bit better control, as we saw first half. I just think if you looked at the game, I mean, it was a fantastic game, wasn't it? It was an incredible game, but I think the goal on 44 minutes was a big, big turning point. But certainly in the first half, I think Spurs fans would be feeling that their team's looking a little bit more like they have done previously.
The match stats were quite interesting for this one in terms of the chances created from both sides. And we said just a moment ago it was the most out of any Premier League game. What do you think you can take from these? The top two are the most important ones.
If I was Pochettino, I'd look and I think, right, I've gone to Tottenham, I've gone to Arsenal, and I've gone to Man City. And if you put both the attempts at goal against them, it's 56 attempts. Man City had 30 attempts and Arsenal have had 26 attempts. That ain't good.
So defensively?
I don't think it's defensively. I think we always look and we always go, all right, defensively. It's a unit, it starts at the front. And I think at the moment, it's all over the place. I think sometimes it's quite hard to play the way they play. When I was brought up, you watch when Leicester won the league, it's 4-4-2. Everybody knew their position. You knew where you were. You lost the ball, get back in here. When you play the way you play these teams now, when they haven't got the ball, sometimes it takes them a while to get back in. You just don't naturally drift in. You have to drift with the game where to go. And I think it's too open. As a manager, you must be pulling your hair out. It must be a bag of nerves. There's no set. It was just so open, the game. And I felt sorry for Winks. I heard it on the radio today. He was getting a lot of stick. And I thought, well, it wasn't really his fault. He was just getting overrun in midfield, Winks. There wasn't a lot in there. If you're playing the three in midfield of Arsenal's holding midfield and you've only got Sissoko and Winks, really, and Sissoko wants to go forward, Eriksen wants to go forward, and he's got to do everything. And obviously he was getting overrun, and I think unfairly he got a bit of stick for it.
Arsenal's performance, to battle back from 2 goals down, whichever way you look at it, you could say, well, they shouldn't have gone 2 goals down in the first place. But did you think there were a lot of positives to take from their performance as well?
I think an enormous amount of positives. And I think to a certain degree, the quality of Arsenal's front three. I mean, I thought Pepe was outstanding on the right, and just for a little bit more quality towards the end, would have really affected the game massively. But if you look at their front three, that's a world-class forward line in anyone's book. Now, for me, the fact that they've got such a world-class forward line, perhaps, and they all want to play in central areas and get into goal-scoring positions, that's probably why the game's so end-to-end. We spoke about 3 defensive midfielders. I mean, I didn't see too many of them defending, unfortunately, because they don't seem to have that one player, that Fernandinho type, that can just sit and be the number 6 and tactically disrupt the game as much as some other teams perhaps, but maybe that's how Arsenal are going to play this year. They're going to be so attacking. I mean, Merson will know more than me, but they look so attacking. I think any game they're in, there's never going to be a 1-0 and sit and shut up shop. It's always going to be that swing in terms of the spaces in the game.
I think that's the way they want to play. I think Emery looks at it and thinks defensively we're not really good enough, so we've got to score goals. And I think a lot of the time against the lesser teams, not Tottenham, but lesser teams, they're sort of like they did against Burnley the week before, or the week before that, is let's just open the game up. And you have a shot, we have a shot, and we will win at the end. And they were fortunate in a way. I thought Burnley did well, but they'll hope that their class comes out on top. But for me, I thought just play Ozil, play them three, play Ozil, sit 6 at the back, 6, and then say you 4 get on with it. You know, we're talking world-class players. We're not talking your run-of-the-mill. These are 4 players you say go and do the business. And I just thought it was too open. And I just think Tottenham will be kicking themselves. Tottenham missed a trick, in my opinion. When they go 2-0 up, I think game management, they should have sat back and they should have really just picked them off for fun. And they didn't do that. And as Gary said, big goal. You just can't underestimate how big that goal was in the 44th minute by Lacazette and a proper finish as well.
Granit Xhaka gave Spurs an opportunity, really. And if we look at Granit Xhaka's fouls in particular in that game, 7 since he's joined the league back in 2016, the most out of any other player. What do you think that Granit Xhaka gives Arsenal that would weigh that out?
Bookings.
But what ways, why do you think Granit Xhaka is shown such faith by Unai Emery?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I honestly, I sit here and I don't know what he brings to the party. I don't know. He doesn't score a goal. He doesn't have assists. He gets booked. He makes rash challenges, give away cheap penalty. He doesn't sit in back of the back 4 as a number 6 and break things up. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. If you said to me, what's he got? I'd say he's got a hard shot. I don't know. I don't know. And I don't want to be disrespectful. I know I might sound, and I don't really want to sound disrespectful, but you're asking me, and honestly, I've got to say, I don't know what he brings.
He's given away 5 penalties as well since he's joined the Premier League. How do you manage a player like that to try and get the best out of him, but also try and say, perhaps, don't give away so many fouls, don't give away so many penalties?
Well, I think his role, I think he's meant to be playing that archetypal number 6 role, that holding midfielder that gives you that control of the game, that can slow the game down on the ball and speed it up. But like Merce says, he's perhaps not quite technical enough. I'm talking at the top level. He's not quite technical enough to do that. But is it also a factor that maybe Arsenal, because they're such an open team, that he's always the last man in midfield that's trying to stop attacks, that's trying to close spaces for other players, for the likes of Ozil. He perhaps doesn't work defensively or isn't as disciplined defensively. But it's a surprising stat for a top team, because we spoke about that they would normally have more of the ball. You'd expect one of the, I don't say smaller teams, I know it sounds disrespectful, but one of the teams further down in the Premier League that maybe have to play that type of way of one of their players. But to get an Arsenal player to have those stats is quite surprising.
I don't know, obviously I won't be sitting down talking to him because he probably won't after this, but
no bits.
I'd like to sit down with him, and it might be the case where he thinks he needs to do it. He doesn't probably trust the others and thinks I've got to do a little bit extra. I don't know. It's gone past that stage now where the Arsenal fans go home and they go, I wish everybody was like Xhaka. I wish they give their all. I watched Rangers Celtic yesterday. Geezer gets sent off last kick of the game. He's walking off. All them Rangers fans be going home, if they all give what he give, well, what did he give? He just gave a silly foul away and got sent off. And that's what I think they've gone past that now. I think they've gone past that. It's like now, the penalty, wouldn't expect to see that on a Sunday morning. I mean, it was, honestly, when it happened, I was like, is he slipped? And he hadn't. It was rash. And, I watched the game the other week. He got sent off with 5 minutes to go. He got booked with 5 minutes to go. And it was a silly booking up the other end of the pitch. And that's another booking. So now he's got 3 bookings already this season. And he's looking at he'll have 5 before you know it. And then he'll have a band. I get frustrated because he's got everything. He's got the size, he's got everything, and I just don't know what he's bringing to the party at the moment. And that's just my opinion. I don't want to sound too harsh, but that's my opinion.
A positive as well for Arsenal, Matteo Guendouzi had quite a good game, since being called up to the France squad as well, because obviously we know that Paul Pogba won't be taking part because he has an injury. I mean, he just looked like he was all over the place in that game. He had a really good one. What did you make of him?
I think when you looked at him last season, I think he played a more disciplined role. Again, we spoke about Arsenal probably searching for someone who can play that type of role. But, he looks as though, he's only a young player, isn't he? And he looks as though this year he's just come on a little bit more and developed a little bit further. And those games last season will have certainly helped him. But I felt he looked better. He looked better going forward. He looked better with a little bit more freedom to go and join in attacks and play. I know it's easy to say that when he set one of the goals up, but he broke forward quite a lot from midfield, and whether he can do that regularly with that quality, I don't know, but he certainly looked as though he enjoyed that attacking role and that little bit more licence.